first of all, welcome to the
Thank you.
midterm rental insurance hot seat, where you
Thank you,
get to
sir.
ask 3 questions or less in 15 minutes or less. I know you got
Awesome.
a win that I want you to share, but before, let's talk about the fun fact real quick. I Do you know anything about Brandeis University?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
You know I went to Brandeis?
Did you really? Oh
Yeah,
man, you're
no,
practically
I know
part of the
about my
tribe.
people.
There you
I
go,
know
my
about my
friend.
people.
Hey, we,
So
we love it. We will accept you. Happy belated
I'm
Hanukkah,
accepted.
sir.
I
Happy
love it.
belated
Thank you.
Hanukkah.
It's so funny because I was wearing a Brandeis City like for like a month ago, and it had
Wow.
the Hebrew writing on it, and
Uh-huh.
like Jewish guy was like, "Hey, like what does that say?" Like he's just kind of like reading. Like I know when I know. I'm like, you know,
You
for the
know.
culture, for the culture.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
awesome.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome. Well, Jeremy, before we get started, this is like a radio show in a way, except this is
Yeah.
gonna go on social, so you did consent to that. I got your
Yes.
questions. I'm excited to answer that. But before we start, where did you first hear about me? Because I like to keep track of where I'm
Man.
connecting with the good people.
I mean, I remember, I don't remember exactly where I heard of you, but I remember meeting you. It was in the bathroom at the short-term wealth conference last year in Nashville. It was like
Yep.
right outside. I'm like, someone had pointed you out, said something about you. Maybe I seen you on a panel or you got a shout out from the stage. Maybe Rachel had
Yep.
shouted you out. And I was like, that's Ruben. All right. I downloaded, started listening to your podcast and put a face to you. And it's like, oh, all right, he's at the bathroom. I'll say hi.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I didn't
Yeah.
even realize the entire connection, but thank you for tuning into the pod, man. I really
Yeah,
appreciate that.
absolutely.
A lot of
Always
love.
driving around, listening to whatever I can consume.
That's awesome. All right, man. This is your time. So, but before we start, you recently had a win. You want to share it with the team because you just
Yeah,
shot me like a message yesterday. I want
I
to share with the
did.
people.
Yeah. Sorry
Tell
to
us about the
jump in your.
process.
So took on a new client,
Hmm.
strictly as MTR, in a lovely, nice little quiet neighborhood in San Antonio here. And they uh, originally had only done Airbnb, like whatever. So I'd really never, except for once, had an Airbnb MTR come through. It's
Hmm.
always been through like Furnish Finder or whatnot. But, got new photos, got the listing optimized, and actually got a really good uh, 42 night MTR stay, which was great.
Nice.
They were going to make more than they'd even made after my commission.
And
But
this is from
they,
Furnish Finder,
this is actually from Airbnb.
Airbnb.
From Airbnb. So it was new to me. I'm like, all right, cool. So then they messaged me and said, hey, we actually want to come like 23 days earlier, but there's some blocked dates right up until we are scheduled to come right now.
Mm,
So heard about you, followed you on Mike Sjogren's mastermind group that I'm a part of. And you were talking about how to move people. And I was like, all right, I wonder if I can use this strategy to move this guest that was booked prior to me taking over at a super low rate. And I knew I could get more money out of them than this, 6, 7 day booking that was in the way. So followed up with you again, got a really good wording out from another call you did the other day. Um, like word for word, just feverishly typing, kind of doctored up a little bit, sent it to them. They weren't as pleased as I was hoping they'd be. They basically said they're not going to book on Airbnb ever again, which is no sweat off my back, but maybe they'll book direct somewhere else. But they did end up canceling. They had a flexible cancellation policy anyway, got all their money back, sent a sent the request change to the guest. They accepted it, and my people are going to make some money, and so am I. So
Ka-ching. So dinner's on you in
Ching.
Nashville.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I got you some drinks. I'll bring them to which stall you're gonna be in. You gonna be the first stall, second stall? We'll meet in the
We'll pick
bathroom.
up right where we left off.
Yeah,
That's
exactly,
awesome, man.
exactly.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that, it works, right? If you do the work, which
Yeah,
I just texted that to you, which I'm happy to hear. I'm glad you got
yeah,
results. And yeah, at the end of the day, you made a business decision and they'll be just fine because there's also a lot of opportunities out there. And you need
right,
to do what's best for you. And you did right by the guest by giving them options. And then they voluntarily had to cancel, which is right. There was no penalty on
right,
your end, right?
right. And they still have like 3 weeks,
Yeah,
so they've got plenty
perfect.
of time to find a place.
They will find another option. Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it. I see you submitted 3 questions. If you're
Okay.
welcome to remix them, this is what I have in front of them. Do you want to go by what you submitted, or does something come top of
I
mind?
can't remember what I submitted. I forgot
Okay,
I had,
cool.
so I had a couple other ones,
Yeah.
but let's go with the ones I submitted.
Up to you. So there's a CRM question
Okay.
to add relocation specialists, and then there's one around what is the best way to explain a lower price on an OTA and still get the price you want, and then best practice for duplicating your OTA listing. Did you
So
want
those
to pick
last
new
two
ones?
questions, yeah, the last two I think are two of the ones that I remembered to that I wanted to talk about. So yeah, having the ask for the price and then creating an MTR listing versus an STR listing.
Okay. So you wanna? I'm happy to cover all three. Up to you. Want to start with the?
Um, yeah, what's I guess the making the money is the most important thing. So maybe ask how to ask for the price that I want when it's
Okay.
shown otherwise on the OTAs and such.
Yeah, I mean, this is a quick answer. So the question is, what is the best way to explain a lower price on an OTA and still get the price I want? So is this question coming from you have a price on an OTA, let's call it $300 a night, and then they're inquiring from the OTA or from another source, just so I'm clear.
So originally, I guess it came about as an example. From ALE called me and a property that I have available, they told me, I guess they slipped up and said they could do $150 a night. So I was like, quick calculation, that's $4,500 a month. Sweet, that's what I want. So I said we could do this for $4,500 a month. I can send you my listing, but my listing, I knew they could book it for an entire month, probably for less than 4,500. So that's kind of where the question comes about. Like, if why not just book through the OTA or book through my direct booking site, which might still be less than 4,500.
And you wanted it to be less than 4,500 to meet their budget?
No, they slipped up and said that they were authorized for $150 a night.
Uh-huh. And is that
So I
more
did
or
the
less than what you're charging?
more, I believe.
Okay.
With the discounts for the
Okay.
month, I think it would be less than 4,500.
Yeah, so I guess two things there. A, I wouldn't send them the OTA listing ever.
Okay.
What I would do, what I typically recommend is to always have your property, even on I would have the property somewhere that doesn't necessarily, well, that's not true because there's a lot of prices, but basically like a Zillow rental manager, even a furnished finder. There's two things. If the listing, because I want to cover both scenarios because it's a really good question, right? If their budget is higher than yours and you
Mhm.
send them an OTA listing, like let's say it's an Airbnb for someone out there, or let's say it's a furnished finder, or let's say it's a Zillow rental manager link, or even a website link, because we still have prices on there. All you have to do is let them know that please note the price that is the actual price is the one I'm giving you because our prices are dynamic, right? And most of the
Okay.
times they're not going to argue. They want to see the listing, they want to see the images. So it really doesn't matter. By the way, I my prices on my site are extremely high, which means that when I send them a listing, I'm like, we'll give you a good deal. It's 290. I know the site says 335 a night, but it's 290 for you, right? Or the alternative might be that, hey, I know the site says 300, but we're in our peak period, especially if you're going to book for 6 months. By the way, I don't even have to go this far, but this is actually more for the self-talk because most people
Okay.
get in their own way. The self-talk that you're giving yourself or the permission you're giving yourself is, hey, we're actually short-term rental operators when we're not doing this. So our prices are dynamic. Whatever you see on the site is not what it reflects. Please reflect to the price that I quote you because prices change day in, day out. But the price that I'm giving you in the email or in writing is one that I would lock you in at. You're almost giving them a deal. You're letting them know that, hey, by the way, the price that I just gave you could go up, right? But I'm going to quote me when I say this. Whatever is written down, I will lock you in at even during my high season, right? So that's the selling
Okay.
point to them. You're letting them know that it doesn't matter whether it's an Airbnb, furnished finder, direct booking listing, it's what I'm giving you as a quote. They're most of them are not going to go back. If they do, you just let them know it's dynamic, right? Changes
Okay.
with the seasons and times, and there's always a season.
Right.
There's you said it. There's whether it's you know Hanukkah, whether it's
Right.
Christmas, whether
Yeah.
it's Easter, or whether it's spring break, whether it's the summer. I mean,
Rodeo.
Christ, there's always a reason to jack up prices. So you don't
Right.
owe anybody an explanation except for the person that, again, you're working with, and just educate them if they need to, but most of them know better.
Okay.
Make
Got it.
sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Just the way that I kind of present it. I might actually just create a Zillow site with a super high price, never
Always go
expected
high.
to get booked,
Yeah.
and then just refer them to that and do like you
Yeah,
said.
because
Okay.
everyone feels like they're getting a deal anyway. Now, I would make it still somewhat realistic, or because
Okay.
I don't want it when someone, and when I say that, I still mean a premium. The reason that is, when someone inquires and they've already seen my price, I like that because it tells me either they don't mind, or they're, maybe they're under the assumption that maybe I can work with them. But either way,
Mhm.
I'm a premium product, right? I don't
Right.
want to put a cheap price on there.
Right.
Because then it's the other way around. It's bait and switch. Hey, you said it's 150 and now you're saying it's 250. Like, that's kind of messed up. But if they're inquiring, it's already at like $500 a day, and then it's like, oh yeah, by the way, I can meet you at 330. They look like they're getting a sweet deal anyway.
Right. Okay.
Cool.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah,
Got a few
absolutely.
minutes left here.
Yes,
So
sir.
then top three things to do differently on an MTR listing versus a short term. How about that?
Yeah, top three. Definitely want to leverage the real estate is the title.
Okay.
So number one is the title. You don't have this much real estate, especially if you're talking about real Airbnb. They're like shortening the
Mhm.
amount of characters you have. So call out the
Yeah.
key pain points, right? The key pain points are going to be the things that people are actually looking for when they're temporary relocating. I'm literally dealing right now before a family that's looking for a fenced in backyard because there are two dogs, right? So fenced in, temp housing, flexible stay, flexible extensions. Um, what's another one? A really good one, dedicated workspace. You only have so many words that you don't want to talk about the highlights of the neighborhood or the area
Yeah.
or the pool. It's not the same experience, right? You're talking about more pain points, right? So focus on pain points in your title. Your images, same thing. You want to focus on functionality versus the aesthetics, right? So if you put a STR listing side by side the MTR listing, I have a great example that I usually talk about in my boot camps. It's hey, this STR listing has pictures of like a foosball table on the exact same home, right? On the MTR listing has the picture of the dedicated workspace above the fold. Above the fold are the first five pictures are showing. It also shows like
Hmm.
there's a Tesla charger. Also shows that there's a fenced-in backyard, right? I'm showing you what you want to see when you're looking and optimizing for a long-term stay. So it's a very different user experience, and it's the exact same thing in the copy as well. Copy is, as you want to make sure that you're highlighting things that like school zones, grocery stores, less so much about the experience of like, marshmallow by the fire pit. All that stuff goes out the window, right? We're talking about what's
Right.
functional. Do you have a two-door garage or one-door garage? Those are the things that we're looking for, right? So that's what I would say. So I give you two title, picture, and then of course availability is number one, right? One of my biggest hacks, you gotta be open for the rest of the year. Then you can do what you did, right? Move people
Right.
around as you need. Hey, 60-day booking, it's gonna be, or whatever it was, 40-day plus. I'm available. I'm not on instant book, but I'm available so that when I do receive an inquiry, I'm ready to move some things around, and maybe I'm ready to host you, or maybe I'm ready to cancel some people way out. Gotta be available for these individuals.
Okay. Love that. Love that. Well, hopefully I'll be moving plenty people around in the future,
Yeah, yeah, and there's
making
a
some good
strategy for
money.
that. That's another conversation. But when you have your duplicate listings, is kind of look at your lead time, and you don't want to be too far wide open for your STR one,
Right.
especially if you want to optimize for this model. But man, yeah, I'm congratulations on the deal.
Thank you.
Love
Yeah.
to see my people winning. I
Yep.
love that, and so nice to see you, man. I guess I'll see
Yeah.
you in Nashville, man.
Yeah. I'll be there. You're getting a lot of love in Sjogren's mastermind. People are loving your group that
Oh,
you started there. So
I appreciate that, man. I
good.
appreciate that.
I'll join one day.
Yeah, for sure. We'll get you in there. In
Yeah.
fact, yeah. Let's just we'll have to get you in there, man.
All right.
Awesome, brother.
Sounds
Well,
good.
listen, I'll let you
Appreciate
conquer
you.
the rest of your day. Let's stay in touch always, man.
Yeah, man.
Always share the
Shalom. I'll
wins.
see you soon.
Absolutely, brother. Shalom as well.
All right, buddy.
Cheers.
Thanks, Ruben. Bye.
Take care.